So, I posted a video last night only to realize it was my first video to do drills on and I failed. Knowing that, I've decided I'm going to delete that video, not because of the number of views. Let's be honest, a few friends and my parents are the ones watching these videos, and they're for me, really, and I'm just trying to share them. But the last thing I want to do is give either confusing or false information. There was nothing false about what I had to say, but looking back at it, it was confusing. So I want to do it the way I started my intro was I'm going to show you a drill, and then I'm going to explain why this drill is so important. And because this drill is kind of like the fundamental of a simple golf swing, I decided I need to redo the video. Limbering up and getting your back to turn before you go out and hit balls is very important. You can't go all stiff. You can go to the range and you can start hitting golf balls, take your driver out, hit a couple of irons, go to the green and do that kind of thing. That's all important. But getting your body function ready. When people first started playing golf, they weren't going to the gym, they weren't working out. Tiger Woods, I guess, was one of the first ones who decided to pump iron and get strong. And so he went out there and started hitting the ball further. People took notice and they decided, oops, maybe we need to be going to the gym. We're not going to the gym. But then again, we're not trying to get on the PGA Tour. But we are trying to do a simple swing to improve our golf shot. So let me show you, now that I kind of stretched myself, warmed up a little bit, got the lower back moving, got the arms moving, got a little blood flow in. Here is the drill. Get in like a 9-iron stance. Lean forward just like you would with your 9-iron, and then just slightly bend the knees. Then I want you to feel like you're taking your golf swing. But all I want you to do is rotate. No manipulation, no nothing. Try to stay centered. You might want to tuck your butt in a little bit. Make sure it's not sticking out. Tuck it in a little bit. And then just go side to side. That's all I want you to do for a second here. Once you feel comfortable with that, and it shouldn't take too long to feel this feeling. You're just following your club plane. This is all you're really doing. You're not doing anything else. You're not trying to swing. Now I want you to take your arms, leave them down at your side. I want you to use your hips. And I want your hips to start moving your arms. So what's going to happen is your hip goes first, your arms follow. So it's your hips. If your arms are completely dead weight, you got to use your hips to get them moving. And this is the key to no matter what golf swing you want to do, because we're talking about how do you start the swing. The other thing we're going to be talking about is, do you need to shallow the club? But first we got to start the swing. And we don't want to start it obviously with our chest and shoulders. We don't want to start turning the upper half of our body. That's what gets us in trouble. I want the hips to do the work. So if you just simply rotate yourself, get back in your golf swing and rotate, what are you really doing? You're replacing a left shoulder with a right shoulder. This is all you're doing. You're getting the hips to slowly bring your hands around. Now you can start speeding that up. And it's kind of like ice skating. Push off, push off, push off. Think about ice skaters. Push off, push off. And they're getting speed and they're speeding down the track. That's kind of the feeling you're going to get. So if you know that you should be able to pause here and get those hips moving out of the way. If you want to be able to hit the ball as hard as you want, you got to get the left side of the body out of the way. Whether you're coming in with your hands and then moving the body out of the way and shedding the hip afterwards, that's that look I call pop goes the weasel. Pop goes the weasel is simply saying, look, I'm gonna come in, I'm throwing my hands, and as my hands are coming in, my hips are getting out of the way. How is that possible? This is traveling at a high rate of speed, but it has a long distance to travel. The belt buckle only has to travel a short distance of speed. This is only opening up 45 degrees, this is coming out 90. So if you want to think about it that way, and a lot of people do, they call it a race. But the truth of the matter, get in about a 9-iron, slightly bend the knees, and just get your flow going. This will stretch your body before a round. This will show you where your club plane is and what you're trying to accomplish. Here we go. So now if I want, I should be able to stall at the top, let my hips do the flow. The last thing you want to do though, in doing this, is worry about weight transfer. By that I mean, you're not trying to turn where you get your weight over your right ankle. That's a disaster. How do I know that? Let's go back to this. We got this flow going. We got our hips bringing our arms around. Get stuck up here and now try to move your hips. Your arms are going to want to fall, but you're going to feel stuck. How do you avoid that? That's why they say leave this knee bent. I go a little bit further with it. If you think about it, and you're standing straight and you plant this foot and plant this foot and these knees are locked, even if you slightly bend them, they're opposing forces. Some people call this one the post, meaning that you're posting around that leg. So this becomes a round. Well, that's kind of dangerous because the last thing you want is this hip to swing around like closing a door. This is not your hinge point. This is not how you want to play golf. The truth of the matter is everything's centered on the spine. So what you really want to do, drive this knee and drive this hip across the body without getting any closer to the ball. That's so that your arms know exactly where the ball is every time. You start getting that hip out, and then sometimes you keep the hip in, you're not going to have a consistent contact. So we're simply talking about, I need to bring my arms down to the same spot so that I know I can connect with the ball on a consistent manner. The other important thing about this is if you turn one side to the other and let your hips start pulling you, some people think the back of this pulls. That can get dangerous. Look at how I pull. Look at what happens. I'm out pacing my hips. So all of a sudden my arms are going to win the race. Well, there goes that ball. Some people are like, no, you do the hips, but they forget about the arms. Well, there goes that ball. I'm just saying stay nice and relaxed and then learn how to get the hips to pull. And if you do that, you're automatically going to start shifting your weight over here. You're using your toe. If you watch my feet real quick, see how my toe starts to pull. Now, some people back in the day, they would kind of roll. Scotty Scheffler likes to roll. He likes to start rolling, but he also rolls the other one. And you can see he's already, before he's even gotten to the ball, he's already getting that pressure on the left side, where most people hope to get to that point. He's there before he even hits the ball. So once he hits the ball, you'll see he has to do this quirky little sliding this foot over. The reason being, he shifted so much weight. That gives a great compressed ball. We'll get to compression. All I want, feel your hips opening up. You don't have to feel like they're bringing the hands in, they are, but I want you to feel the hips opening up. So that's your drill. Just feel left shoulder, right shoulder, left shoulder, right shoulder. There's no casting, there's no starting at the top, there's no coming down at the bottom, there's no shallowing the club. All I want you to do is pull a little bit, or at least open the hips and give your body some space to work in. Then your hands can follow and we can start hitting the ball hard. So I'm going to do a part 2 on this video, and I'm going to reset the camera, or at least set up my mat, and I'm going to show you a couple swings. Whether you want to be a handsy guy and throw your hands, or you want to be more of a body guy and throw your body, either way, your left side has to get out of the way. People are going to say, oh, when you come back, push the right hip straight back, and as you come back this way, pull the hip out of the way. That's too complicated. Why not simply sit here and let the hips get out of the way on their own and just feel this? And if you do it right, you're going to notice I'm kind of, you don't really call it sliding, I'm getting my weight forward, and then I'm just turning my hips. I'm not getting this. If I were to do it right here by this table, well, how can I do this? I don't want to talk about this too long, but here, we'll put this here. So if you're doing this, how close can I get? See, I'm not hitting the stump. My feet are on almost each side of it now. And I'm not hitting the chair, because I've taught myself, no matter what position I get in, this stays on a line. When we start hitting balls later on, I promise you, you get that left side out of the way, you can swing as hard as you want. That's part of the key. I don't want to muddle your mind. Just learn how to do this. Left shoulder, right shoulder, left, right. Keep your shoulders under your chin. For some of you with the massive shoulders, you're going to have to pick up the head a little bit and stick the chin out a little bit. Get that shoulder under, and then just learn how to start leading, and then you can start timing. Here my hands are going faster. Here my hands are going slower. We'll work on what this part means. How to sync the body. It's a sequence of events, and we'll learn about timing and sequence. But just simply get flowing, and that'll be the best warm-up you could do before you go start the round. You now know where your plane is. You know what your shoulders are doing. You're not doing anything crazy. You're not trying to kill the ball too soon. You're just letting the function of the main part, the core part of your body is doing the turning. And you're slightly cracking the hips open and letting the hands and body, this part of the body, follow through. So when we're talking about your golf swing, that's what's going to let you get down on the ball, and then how we'll go later on what creates the up movement. But you can kind of tell it's the hip. Your hip can only go so far, it can only go straight so far, then it has to back up, and that's what allows the body to follow. But this is the most important part of hitting as hard as you want. Getting the body, the left side. Once it's out of the way, what's to stop you from just going at it? You can just go. But this has to be out of there. So I might do a part 2 and show you some swings.